and just have a little chat. Unfortunately, I don't have my comments, so I can't see. Yes, okay. Just wanted to make sure my audio is working. I can't see if you guys are talking to me today. My laptop accidentally got left at home. I don't know how that happened. So we're continuing in our series of new to quilting. And last week, my husband and I were at the Overland Expo, and so I did a live from Friday morning, but I didn't have a featherweight with me. So I wanted to kind of review. I just realized I don't have any thread. Oh, there's some. I wanted to review the one of the tips last week was to thread your machine over and over and over again so that you can get used to the thread path on the upper side. And today we're going to talk about the bobbin, but I thought I would demonstrate them while we were on air so you guys can see that. I know it seems foolish to keep going over and threading and rethreading and all that fun stuff, but it creates muscle memory. So when you're in the heat of something and a thread breaks or whatever, that you're not like flustered because you can't remember how to do the threading, and you don't have to pull out a book to remember how to do it. It becomes kind of second nature to you. So we are going to do that. Also, we're going to talk about tools, quilting tools. I think one of the common misconceptions of quilting is that it is a inexpensive, we're going to call it a sport. It is not an inexpensive sport. It's not the most expensive hobby, but there are some upfront costs that make it difficult for some. One is your machine costs, of course. And of course, featherweights, if featherweight is your machine of choice, like mine, here's Esmeralda. These little babies start at around 800, generally speaking, for a black, good condition post-war, and they go way up, depending on your featherweight. So machine costs up front is a bit challenging. You don't want to invest in an inexpensive sewing machine because you will find that you will outgrow it very quickly. Also, inexpensive sewing machines have a lot of plastic parts, and so therefore they break. They cannot be repaired. I would highly recommend a mechanical antique machine, like from the 50s, 60s. They tend to hold up and last longer. Another cost that I would encourage you to not be frugal about is your rotary cutter and your cutting equipment. Rulers, these acrylic rulers that we use for quilting and cutting, these babies can start anywhere in the $30 range, which seems like a lot, except they literally last forever. I have been quilting for 30 years. And I still have my very first ruler. My other one broke. I would have had two, but I broke one. And look, you can't even see the lines. I've worn it clean, but I'm still using it. So you have to think about the price over a season and not just right up front. So rulers, invest in good rulers. If you can only afford to buy one ruler, I would encourage you to get the long wide. This is a 24, I believe, a 24 by 8. I can't read the numbers anymore, but I think it's 24 by 8.5. This is a good general purpose ruler. If you are fortunate enough to be able to afford a second ruler, the only other second ruler, in my opinion, that you need is the 12.5-inch square. You'll find yourself constantly squaring things up, and generally speaking, we work from a 12.5-inch or lower scale. So it will help you square up a 4-inch block, a 6, 6, 8, not whatever. Anything under 12, it'll work. So good rotary acrylic rulers. Wow, hello. Maybe I need some coffee. Are worth the investment. Okay, so the other thing is if you're going to spend some money getting set up, you need a good rotary cutter and a good rotary mat. So this is a typical rotary mat size. It is a 18 by 24 inch ruler. It's self-healing, which means that it will, the divots that you create with the rotary cutter will self-heal. I would like to just say, in case anybody is doing this, when you are cutting fabric, you never ever use the lines on your mat. You use the lines on your ruler. Because what happens is, as you start slicing through the mat, it creates these little microscopic slits in the mat. And then eventually these numbers will be skewed. If you look at like this over 24 inches across, it probably is about 1/8 of an inch off, which will make a big difference sometimes. So just remember to never use the lines on the mat to cut on, to only use the lines on the ruler to cut with. Okay, so let's see if that's going to stay. Okay, it's going to stay. So that is my little tip and trick for new quilters and just general overview of quilting. Make an investment in a good machine. Make an investment in good rotary cutters, rulers, and self-healing mats. You will thank me later. I just can't tell you how many times, inexpensive items like acrylic mats or acrylic rulers, mats, and blades, cutters are still expensive. But if you buy a good one right up front, you'll be a lot happier. I also wanted to show you too, while we're here, and on the subject of rotary cutters, there's many different types of rotary cutters, different sizes. This is a small one, and there is actually one bigger than this too, but I don't have it handy. The reason why you would want different size cutters is if you're doing big, long strips, the bigger ruler, the 60 millimeter, tends to travel through a lot more fabric quicker. The general one is the 45, this is where most of the time you start with these. Just find one that ergonomically, I said that right? Yeah, is good for your hands. So I prefer this style. This is old school style because I just like being able to push down and over at the same time. It does have a guard on it so you don't cut yourself. You just have to remember to pull it open when you go to cut and close it when you're done. I have a rule in my classroom that if I find a rotary blade open and on someone's desk, you owe me a quarter. It tends to nip that in the bud really quickly. And the rules don't apply to me. That's what you should also know. All right. There's these newer ones that are made by OmniGrid, and they have a guide that pushes down with pressure. So when you go to push on the mat, the guide automatically slips out of the way, but as soon as you take the pressure off the blade, it snaps back. Therefore, you don't have to remember to open and close things, so you'll never accidentally put it down with the blade open and then owe me a quarter. I do like these. They have a lock on the back of them so that this won't open at all. They have a setting for light, and then they have a setting for heavy duty in terms of the guide moving out of the way. So all that to be said, you want to at least start with the 45 millimeter. Okay, so then you have this little baby one, and you're like, why do I need this? If you are ever doing a quilt that has if you're using like a template or a rotary blade template, which has a real tight curve on it, like think apple core quilts or wedding ring quilts, the littler blade gets into tighter curves and tighter spots better than the big style. So I have one of these. It's also a great portable little gadget for if you're traveling with a traveling setup. The littler one takes up less space. So anyway, I think I have talked about more coffee. Rotary, good Lord. Blades ad nauseum. Okay. And mats and all the things. Now let's get to the featherweights, so the fun stuff. Okay, so here we have Esmeralda. I'm going to tip my camera down a little bit. And last week we talked about doing your thread path over and over again. I'm going to take this stuff off because if you don't have those things, I don't want to confuse you. So you have your thread on the spindle holder, and you're going to go down. Oh gosh, can I do this backwards? I don't know. Down through the hook, and then you're going to go through the tension plates. The tension plates are towards the back of the mechanism, almost up against the machine, and they look like hamburger buns. So they kind of look like this. You want to make sure that thread goes right in between the hamburger buns. And when you pull up, could you hear that? It made a little click. It takes it into the take-up spring. Then you're going to go up to the take-up lever. Oh, this is very weird backwards. Okay. Like that. And then there are guides, thread guides. So you have guide number 1 right there, 2, and then 1 right above the needle. So then you're going to slide your thread. You don't have to thread it. You can slide behind it. Maybe I can do this way. Oh, look at me. I can't do the other one because I can't see it. Or maybe I can. Gosh, Darlene, can you thread things completely backwards? I can. All right. If you guys are commenting, again, I can't see your comments because I don't have my computer with me today. I'm going to go through and answer questions as soon as I'm off. So, and then this is the most important part. You're threading your sideways. It's very counterintuitive. Sideways, and you are threading it from the inside of the machine to the outside of the machine. So that is how you do the upper. Let's talk about the bobbin. So the bobbin casing looks like this. It comes out. You always take very, very, very good care of your bobbin casing because these little suckers, especially the vintage original ones, are expensive if you have to replace it. So how you thread your bobbin is you're going to go, at least on the featherweight, it's different on every machine. I might as well say that too. Like if you have like a drop-in style, it's usually the same, but like the Berninas are completely opposite of the featherweight bobbins. So when you're looking at this comes up and over to the left, and you are going to pop it in. Like it makes the capital letter P for Paul. If you're lucky enough to be married to Paul, or maybe your name is Paulette, you think P for me. All right, so you pop it in like that, and then you're going to thread it through. There's a little slit on the side of the casing, and you're going to put the thread through that and then pull it up through. It's the tension plate, kind of looks like a forked snake's tongue. And then when you pull, here's your sanity check. When you pull, you're going to pull, and the bobbin is going to swing counterclockwise. If it is swinging clockwise, you are exactly 180 degrees out. So we don't want that. Then when you went to go pull this out of the machine, you use the little arm deal here to get it off of the bobbin assembly, but when you go to pop it back on, you don't need to use the arm. You just pop it on with your thumb. And as soon as you hear it click, boop, 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 click, you know it's in. All right, so that is threading your upper and threading your lower. I encourage you to spend some time doing that over and over again. I will say that, especially as I've gotten older, yes, I've gotten older, it is very difficult for me to see the needle on the hole on the needle, to be able to thread it from the inside to the outside. I usually put my other finger behind it so I can kind of see where the hole is, and then it makes it a little bit easier threading if you put something behind the hole, a white piece of paper or your finger. It helps you find the needle hole a little bit easier. So there you go. All right. I wanted to share one more thing with you before I let you go. I had kind of a cool story this week, and I get excited about quilting projects that are what I call legacy or heirloom quality projects. I had this very sweet lady come in last week or the week before, and she had a bunch of quilting stuff. She said she was going out of quilting. I don't really understand that language because I will never go out of quilting. But But this gal said she was downsizing and they were moving. And so she was getting rid of a bunch of just extra batting and projects she had started and all that fun stuff. And so she brought it in here because she knows that I have students and it's good to have access to free materials when I have young students that want to continue their quilting journey. So anyway, all that to be said, she pulls out these blocks. Red work, is anybody familiar with red work? They are all hand stitched with red thread on cream or muslin backing, or in this case it was flour sacks. And she told me the story that it was her mom's, when her mom was born in 1907, her mom, so this would be this lady's grandmother. This lady looks like she was in her 70s, maybe late 70s, solicited red work blocks from all of her friends when the baby was born. And so she had about 29 of them. And they were not finished. They were just sitting in a bag. And she wanted to give them to me. And I'm like, whoa, whoa. This is an heirloom piece that your children will fight over someday. You don't want to give these to me. So I encouraged her to make a quilt to allow me to make a quilt for her with them. The coolest part about this quilt is a lot of the blocks, not all of them, have people's initials or names on them, and there's a key like to a map, that a piece of paper that came in the bag, and on the key it said who all of the people were and how they were related to the family. Super cool. And one of the blocks is actually dated 1907. So anyway, I've been working on it this week and it is so pretty. I love it. I think Well, mostly because I understand the sentimental value of something like that, but moreover, I don't do handwork. So I have such a deep appreciation for people that can sit there in a car or while watching TV and just applique or embroider or all of the things. That is not something that I find joy in. That's to put it lightly. I don't even hand sew my bindings. I say no thank you to handwork. But this is a cool thing. So anyway, I thought I would show you. I have it webbed right now. So let me stand up because I have it webbed. Okay. And I'm gonna be finishing up this week, but look at all this. Look. Just so I can't pick a favorite. They're all so cute. And then I have the bottom rows done. Here, but is it there? Here's the one that has the date. 1907. So stinking cool. Some of these are a lot of work. Anyway, so I'm so excited to be able to get that back to her. I convinced her to let me make her a lap quilt that she can have out on display or use. And so I had to pre-stabilize. All those things were very thin, like the muslin or flour sack. It had to be flour sack at 1907, but was pretty thin. So I stabilized it with a medium weight woven fusible interfacing to kind of give it some structural integrity. So that's why everything looks so flat and lovely as it's been pressed to death. And then she brought the other fabric then I'm using a sashing and corner post on it. So anyway, just absolutely love being part of these family heirlooms. It makes me feel like the work that I do is part of someone's legacy. It means more than just the here and now. So anyway, it's been really fun to work on it. I definitely will post pictures when I get it together. Well, I have rattled on quite a bit today. So like I said, I'll go through and check everybody's comments. If anybody has any other questions, I'll answer them online through the comment section. I am on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. If you guys have any questions you would like me to address during these Wednesday morning with Coffee with Darlene shows, then please feel free to email me at info@featherweightdoctor.com. And go ahead and like these videos if you're finding them informative. And if you haven't already, you can like the page or subscribe to the channel. All right. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a great day. It's hump day, so we're on the downward slope to the weekend. I hope y'all are well and happy and healthy and all of that. Have a good one. Bye.